Hi, welcome to Savannah African Art Museum. My name is Lisa Jackson. I'm the Education Coordinator. Yes, we're safe distancing and we're wearing masks, but today we're going to talk about masks of a different kind. It is September and we are going to have our workshops about African masks. Masks used in ceremonies, community events, special initiations, masks made of wood, masks made of metal, ceramics, masks of different shapes and sizes, masks where you see different symmetry. So that is what we're going to do today. Today's part one, it's intro to mask making. And today's class is going to be facilitated by Camille Hulbert from M-Star Arts Creative. And she is going to give us an intro to mask making, and we're going to be doing masks with using plant materials and paint. But today we're going to start with part one. So thank you. Welcome, Camille.
Thank you for the introduction, Lisa. My name is Camille Hulbert. We are still practicing safe distancing. So for this mask making workshop, I'm going to take my mask off because we all are 6 feet apart. Okay. Today's mask making activity is going to be using organic materials, specifically plant materials and paint. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be learning a little bit about organic shapes and colors used to create African masks that we're going to explore in the museum. So the first mask we're going to do is we are going to use a half mask to do this. What you're going to do is you're going to get your mask. You're going to get dried rose petals if you have them, or you can use the fresh rose petals. Step by step as we go through this process, we'll have the instructions on the website, so if you have any questions, you can reflect back to them. But these steps are pretty simple and straightforward. So the first step we're going to do is we're preparing the materials to put on the mask. The first thing you're going to do if you're using the fresh flowers, you're going to pull the rosebud off of the stem, and it's going to spread apart like this. What you're going to do is you're going to get a paintbrush. You're going to pour your Mod Podge into your palette. You're going to dip your paintbrush into the Mod Podge, and then you're going to take a rose petal. What you're going to do is cover the rose petal completely with Mod Podge. This is going to preserve the rose petal. Also, this is something that you would use when we do the mask, the second mask with the fabric. You can also put the Mod Podge on top of the mask. The plant material and paint mask that we're going to be working on, we are also going to be preparing the mixed media paper the same way that we prepared the rose petals. So once you get about 12 rose petals done, and we're going to go through this fast forward motion like, you can do 6, but I would say do 12 rose petals just to start off with, so that you'll have enough rose petals to put on one side of your mask, because we're going to put the rose petals on one side and we're going to paint on the other. While you are doing the rose petals, what we're also going to do is with the mixed media paper, because we're going to be placing the mask on the paper, you're going to do the same steps that you did with the rose petals on the mixed media paper. So you're going to take the Mod Podge and you're going to put the Mod Podge all over the mixed media paper, like you're painting it. And it doesn't need to be completely covered. It needs to be so that when you stick your mask onto the paper, it'll stay. So I'm going to set this to the side and go back to the mask. Now, as we know with African masks, most of the masks are designed by shape and color. I picked the yellow color because yellow represents joy, energy, and warmth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint one side of the mask in yellow, and I'm going to use the yellow rose petals on the other side of the mask, so that my entire mask is going to be yellow. So what we're going to do is draw a little line of symmetry with the glue up this way. And symmetry is kind of just like what you would do to make something go in half. A lot of African masks are geometric, and they have a lot of symmetry, geometric shapes, cubism. So this is just a good starting point. You can actually make this mask however way you would like to. So what we're going to do now with the rose petals that you painted the Mod Podge on, you're going to add the rose petal to one side of the mask. You're going to continue to add Mod Podge onto it, because what you're going to do is add more rose petals. You can set your paintbrush down to the side too as you use your glue, and use your fingers more to kind of spread them apart. And you're going to start to place the rose petals all the way around the mask. By using both, putting it on the mask, setting your mask down, grabbing more rose petals, and painting more rose petals. What this does is it gives you a little bit of dry time and think time, because now at this point you should kind of be thinking about what shape do you want your mask to take. You've already identified the colors, so what you're going to do is continue to put the rose petals on there. I'm just going to add in the yellow right here. Okay. All right. So now what we're going to do is that I've used the orange rose petals. I'm going to start adding in my yellow rose petals so that I can maintain the color scheme of yellow for my mask. Sometimes color adds texture as well. So what you'll find is that once you start to piece together your mask and you start to put the rose petals on one side, that once everything dries, you'll be able to paint also over the rose petals. This is the mask we prepared earlier. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be painting the black side yellow, and we're going to continue with the yellow rose petals. And then for this next step, what we're going to do is we're going to place the mask on the mixed media paper, which we prepared earlier, much like we prepared the rose petals. So what you're going to do is you're going to get a little bit of Mod Podge, and it dries relatively quick. So you're going to paint it. And I know some people don't have an idea of painting glue, but you can paint glue like you paint with paint. So what you're going to do is put the mask on to the mixed media paper. And it should sit like this. Now what you're going to do is you're going to grab your tacky glue. You're going to grab your tacky glue. you're going to put some tacky glue around the edge of the mask, just a little piece here, and a little piece here. And this is a little thicker glue than the Mod Podge. If you're interested in embellishing it, you want to add beads to it, like some of the masks you see in the museum, or if you want to add other plant material, what you're going to use is this tacky glue instead of the Mod Podge, because it's a thicker hold. Then you're going to press down on the sides. Now at this point, what you're going to do is you're going to be thinking about what shape do you want your mask. A lot of African masks carry different shapes. They can be square, they can be ovular, they can be almost triangular shaped. So for this one, what we're going to do is we're going to make kind of like a triangular shaped mask. And then you're going to add this line down the side for the symmetry, so that when you start to paint, and like I said earlier, we're going to be using yellow, we're going to be making a yellow mask. You can actually add the glue, a little bit of the Mod Podge and a little bit of the yellow glue, so that if you want to add, if you decide you want to add flowers to it, you can. And then you're going to continue to paint the side of the mask yellow. Now, even though this is black underneath it, this is what creates texture. So you can either color the entire mask yellow, or you can create some type of pattern with it. So this is from what we created earlier, the final project. The final project is going to be rose petals on one side and paint on the other. You can choose whatever textures you like, whatever colors you like. It doesn't have to be specifically the way that you started out with, because with the art process and creative process, sometimes you'll change directions. And you'll see that in a lot of the masks that you look at throughout the museum. Some of them seem like they maybe start out square and then they'll shape into something completely different. So a lot of that is based upon the materials that they use to make the mask. In this particular one, the rose petals and the paint gives you a different kind of perspective on how to make an African mask.